Intuitive viewers, welcome. So I I had wanted to do a video every Saturday. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do video every Saturday. And what I found, especially lately, especially the last probably few months, I guess, is that it's very, very hard to come on when I don't feel like I'm compelled to, I feel it's like I'll feel compelled to come on and say certain things. And when I feel like, well, I could go on and say this or that, it feels very lackluster or something. It doesn't have that kind of that kind of push behind it that I always feel Spirit gives me when I feel like I'm compelled to get on and give a message. And so this is one of those times. I keep hearing the phrase, I'm sorry, I'm looking for my pen right now. I keep hearing the phrase, Putin's fatal mistake. I get this feeling of like fatal error, fatal mistake. So that's what is coming through. And I kind of feel like he makes a final blunder or a final, there's a finality about this that I feel like is coming in, at least for me. It feels very, I don't feel doomsday necessarily for the world, or it feels doomsday for him. And so I feel like there may be something he either tries but doesn't quite get done, or he attempts something or something, but there's a fatal mistake he's about to make, a fatal, and they use the word like fatal, deadly mistake, fatal mistake, final mistake, those kinds of terms. And so I feel like it's definitely blows back on him in some way. And it's kind of the end of him as we kind of think of him as being, the ruler of Russia, that kind of thing. I also wanted to bring you back a little bit to a few things that I got before when the war kind of first started. And for those of you who do remember this, you'll remember this, but those of you who didn't hear this or didn't see these particular videos or have forgotten, you might recall, or it might be interesting to know. There was one thing that happened. I was, at the time I was taking care of my mom, so I was in Sacramento and I was staying in a hotel, and I woke up in the middle of the night to a woman saying very loudly in my ear, Russia. And I woke up out of a dead sleep. I don't know if you guys remember that. And it was a little weird, but I knew it was a message. So immediately I kind of went into that reader mode of just like, what did that mean? And what I got from it was that Russia was going to wake up. And this was when it seemed like they were not going to wake up. But I kept getting, I kept getting messages to the effect that they were going to revolt somehow, or kind of go against Putin and want to get rid of him, that kind of thing. I also had these, a couple of weird dreams. And my dreams I always take with a grain of salt, because they come true sometimes and they don't sometimes. So I take them as just kind of like they could come true, especially if I remember them really, really well. Usually that's an indication of that it's something else. It's not just a dream. It's a message, or it's a visitation or something. But I had a dream where the Kremlin was bombed. This is for entertainment purposes only. This was just a dream. It was just a dream that I had. And I asked who did this, and they said dissidents. So, and at the time I talked about it on the channel, and we kind of thought, I got a lot of people saying they thought that it was maybe metaphor, a symbol of something, that it maybe wasn't literal. And I kind of tended to agree with that, although I never discount that, because when you have an image, it can be literal. But I did get that. And then I also got this weird French Revolution dream where it was kind of a mixture of Russia and kind of revolting, and then it turning into the French Revolution. It was very trippy, weird dream. And I got this feeling. I saw a guy running with the flag from the French Revolution flag, like in Les Mis. It was like that. So I know that wasn't French Revolution, but it was like that kind of flag. And so I feel like something is brewing. And I mean, of course, we're seeing things, happen in the news, but there was also another vision that I got of all of the political prisoners being let out, including Alexei Navalny. And the other thing that I kept seeing was this young leader that was going to come to power. And I think maybe I saw him. There's a guy named, of course, his name's Dmitry. His name's Dmitry. And I don't know his last name, but I saw him just briefly. And he is not a political prisoner. He's in hiding right now. And he's been very, very vocal against Putin, against the war, against that Putin regime, all of that. And he looked so much like the guy that I keep seeing. And I have to say, I didn't get like chills or anything like that, but it looked so much like him. I was just like, I wonder if that is the guy. But his name is Dmitry, and he's a young guy. He's in hiding right now. But I always saw kind of Putin exiting. Actually, I saw him dying, so exiting, but he may be thrown out before. I mean, either way is fine. However, can get him kind of away from hurting people. But I always saw him leaving, and then someone taking over, an older man taking over briefly, and then a younger man coming in, and everything changes. It's like the energy has changed for Russia. People love him around the world. It's like they're Obama, kind of. He's kind of has that energy, really, really kind of a younger energy, and kind of a very forward-thinking, doesn't hold prejudices, doesn't have that old, like these old, like grievances that Putin seems to have. None of that. He just brings a new and fresh energy to Russia, and all of a sudden they're our friend. People are trusting them again and kind of letting them into the different organizations, and it's just a really happy change. But anyway, that's the future that I keep seeing. And of course, I wish it was tomorrow that these things play out in a certain way, because we have to learn the lessons from them. And it's not even just about America, right? It's about Russia, and it's about people there, and people that have probably been there, coming back there for lifetimes. And so it's about their learning curve and all of that. So there's to kind of recap a little bit too of what I got when I was with Debbie, was that I kept getting a death coming. And to me, it sort of feels like a relief. And I'm not getting who it is, which I find really interesting. And often with deaths, I think that guides in general are very careful to not say this person is going to die. I'm sure some readers do get things like that, but I think they don't want to put that type of target of responsibility on people, things that might draw negative attention to a reader. I think they're very careful with that. But I do feel like there's a death that it feels a little bit like a relief. But I'm also getting another. So this is interesting. So either it's the same person or it's two different people, but I'm getting it as, or it could be two things that are possibilities of happening. So it's like I have to kind of look, I'm not getting a full picture. So I kind of just have to go with what I kind of think and cover my bases where I think it could be something else maybe, but I'm getting the death of somebody who feels like, phew, it feels like kind of a relief, to be honest. And then I feel like there's either another death or it's the same person of a feeling like it isn't what it seems. It's not what it seems. So for example, it was a murder, but they frame it as a suicide or something like that. You know what or it was, you know, they died in their sleep, but really they were poisoned. It's something a little that feels a little bit like a little nefarious, a little bit. So there's something about it that's kind of off. I also feel like there's something that's going to be attributed to Donald Trump. And I don't think it's him passing away or something, but I feel like something's going to be blamed on him in some way. So, and I don't know if this is all connected, like it's all one thing, or if it's three different things, or one thing and two, you know, I don't know, but I'm getting these really strong like hits on these things, and I feel like they're pretty close. That's why I feel like I should say what's going to happen, because I feel like I also have to say about these things, it's like when they happen, this is the way it was supposed to happen, or this is the way that it was planned, or something like that. It feels like this is the way. And so there's that. I just wanted to kind of prepare you for that. And there's also something about a near miss, something where it's like something almost happens and then people are like, oh gosh, it was. And that to me feels more like either some sort of attack or something. It feels a little bit bigger than like just a person. It feels like a bigger thing, but it's like, phew. And it could even be like a hurricane or something that's supposed to hit, but it doesn't, but it's more like a relief, and everybody's kind of, whoo, relieved. And to be honest, I feel like there's divine intervention. So whatever this is, it's going to be kind of like a miracle, or people attribute it to being like, oh, it could have been so much worse, but it really is divine intervention. And once again, I feel like this is planned. This is the way it goes. This is the way this is the way it's supposed to be. Because there's greater things that this is about. It's not just about this. When we're here, and it's us, we tend to think very, put our blinders on a little bit and think it's just about us, or it's just about our country or our life. And it's really like, no, there's a bigger umbrella that this is about. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on was Italy. I wanted to look at this Italy person. What I got about this in general, it's very interesting, that with this kind of Putin, kind of Hitler-y energy, and then you've got these like the guy in Hungary and Turkey, and like these more like, I don't know, kind of lower level, kind of pretty unpopular, you know, kind of dictators. And then you've got now this Mussolini energy coming back, right? So all of these more masculine, more dominating, kind of taking people's free will, and also they're crooks, right? They just take the money and go. They take the money and just keep it for themselves. It's not really about the people, right? It's just about them and their friends, and tax cuts for people. And so, the woman in England too. And I feel like my guides are always like, this energy is going, but it's almost like we're having one kind of quick go around with all of these old energies to see, like, is there anything else we can learn from them? Anything else we can take from them before they go? And it's also kind of I don't say a test, but it is it's revealing to show how we handle them now versus way back when. And these, my guides have been very clear about the fact that these energies are going, but they're fading away. They're not just going one day and they're gone. They're kind of fading out, and that we in some way need to kind of let them go. We're way too, I say this, I don't want to, because I don't want to, I know people have interests in war and interests in battles and things like that. And it's like we're way too obsessed still with World War II, with the Civil War. And it's more than just like, oh, well, we need to remember it so we don't repeat it. It's more like people being interested in the weaponry and the battles and that kind of stuff and the meanness of it. It's and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these people. I'm just saying that those kinds of things kind of keep it around. And it's that we really have to kind of begin to learn how to honor the past and refer to the past, but not get embroiled in the past or get stuck in the past. So they just wanted to bring that up. And it's not like, oh, get over it. It's not like that. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm even talking about the parts of the past that are not really the parts that are the important parts. It's just the negative parts, you know? So when we have thoughtful books and accounts of people's personal stories happen, those things are very important to know and to learn from, because that's one reason it's so, witnessing something is so important, is because you bear witness to an event and then you can relay it, and then you don't repeat it or you don't go back there. But they're bringing up something about us kind of keeping around the most negative parts of these stories, and not like doing it to ourselves, but in a way kind of concentrating on parts that you can let that go, and move into a new future that honors that memory or changes the negativity of that memory. And so we're kind of, I hope I'm explaining this in a way that doesn't make it sound like I'm like, just get over the past. It's not like that. It's and I always thought it was weird that we have Civil War reenactments and things like that about the battles and that kind of thing, and not understanding, like, we need to know more about why this happened and how things like this can be prevented, and how we may have prevented it at the time. Things like that are a little more positive than just going into the violence of it, and kind of glorifying that or having fun with that. It does something to the energy of now that we really need to be aware of, because there is this feeling of, being focused in on right here and right now, and doing the best to clear and keep positive energy in front of us, individually. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And because when you do that, when your energy is clear and you're peaceful and you feel happy, and then you go and talk to someone, or we talked about this before, you give money somewhere, it's infused with that. And so it does even more. So I feel like that's one message, and it almost sounds like a message for my club in a way. It's funny to put it out to the whole channel, because I just feel like it's kind of like, pay attention to your own energy and your own stuff right now, because it can affect the world. It really can. And we're in that phase where we need to start individually trying to kind of push back and dissipate these energies once and for all, because that's the way that they're going. But how fast is going to be up to us. Somebody asked, I have a few questions here that I just wanted to answer real quick. I did have answers to them, so I just wanted to answer them real fast. Let me go into my notes. Okay, so I had Justin was asking, and he had sent me an email. I didn't get it on Thursday Night Live, so I apologize, Justin. I think I talked about this on another live with somebody else, but about the COVID next year, and about what does education look like in the next decade. And I wanted to say that I felt like there was going to be, because there is kind of a war on like books and like an education and, you know, history, things like that. And I did want to say that I felt like if we do keep the House and Senate, there's going to be some big, it almost feels like a package deal for teachers. It almost feels like pay increase plus, you know, special training. And so it's kind of like a package deal. And I feel like it makes education come out of kind of a slump that it's been in. And this is, I'm talking about public education, kind of a slump that it's been in, and it moves it in, it kind of moves it, pushes it in the right direction. So in 12 years, let's ask in 12 years. So what I'm getting is that it will have ups and downs, but it will come to a point where it becomes one of those things that you don't, if you can imagine, that you don't take money from, kind of like Social Security, or it's like you kind of, it's taboo, like to go and talk about, because I feel like there's I know there's an education department, but it feels like there's an actual like fund that it just is allotted to this. You don't touch it for anything else. You don't mess with it. So there's something about that. And I do feel like it's going to improve, but it's going to be kind of like this. It's going to be kind of up and down. So I hope that answers that question. And then COVID into next year. Well, in general, I keep getting the message that 2020 was like the big COVID thing. And in the ways that we were tested, or the things that we learned, most of us did learn. Some of us went crazy. Some of us are in QAnon now. Some of us are going nuts and not wearing masks and stuff like that. But most of us got it. And it was an opportunity as well for people to change directions or to make things different. And a lot of people did take advantage of that. So that was kind of the big thing, the big one, you know, with when we were all completely locked down and stuff for 2020 and 2021. I feel like it's going to become a regular kind of how it is, kind of like there'll always be a booster along with your flu shot, and there will be people that get it, and there will be people still that, you know, they might have underlying conditions, so they'll have an adverse effect. But I feel like next year there's going to be a lot of treatments coming out, and I keep seeing this spray, like it's a nose spray kind of thing. So I don't know if that's if it's I always thought it could be like a kid's vaccine kind of thing, but it might be a treatment. It might be something like that. but I keep seeing that as well coming in. As to my knowledge, that hasn't come yet. So I don't know what that is, but that is, I keep seeing that as well. Okay. And I think that was all for now. Is it all for now? Yes. I did want to tell you about a Reiki master, Sunny Cohen, that you might want to just check out if you're interested in that kind of thing. I got a really nice email with her website, and I know of her, so I feel like she is really good. So she does Reiki and Reiki services in person or at a distance. She teaches Reiki. So if you're interested in that, it's sunnycohenreiki.org, and I'll put it at the bottom so you can check that out. I think next Monday I'm going to be on with Milu, and I think I have a couple other things coming up that I think might be kind of fun. And join the club if you're interested in all this kind of stuff and you like talking about it. This is what we do. So join the club, just hit the join button and you'll get the information. I just so you know, I don't have the ability to sign people up or take or end a subscription. So you have to do that, but the steps are pretty clear. And so whether you're coming in or going out, or coming in some months, because it's month to month. So if you wanted to do some months and not, and I always put the calendar out so that you know what's coming. So if you want to bow out some months and come back some months, that's fine. But I can't do it for you. It just, YouTube won't let me. And I understand why, but I think that may be a change that may be coming, that they may be able to let us do that, because I think some people get frustrated. So anyway, that is happening, and I am going to roll it over to next year. I wasn't sure, but I think I am going to make some changes to it. So I'll let you know when those come about, and you can decide if you want to do it. We'd love to have you. All right, everybody, take care. I'll see you on Thursday night for Thursday Night Live. I can't wait. It should be very interesting. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.